Hey, everybody. Welcome to the ET Whisper monthly webinar. We are so excited for all of you guys to be a part of today's webinar. We have more than average amount of people here today. So we just wanted to, first of all, welcome you, and second of all, kind of let you know what's going on. All of you who are watching got the link to be here today. Also, in that email is another link. That's where you're going to send your questions. We were doing them in the chat room, but it became more than chaotic for Kalina. So I just wanted to remind you to use that link to send your questions. Now, we ask that you send only 2 questions because for the last 3-4 webinars, we've only been able to get 1 question each answered, and in a couple cases, not even 1 question from everybody. There have been very rare occasions in the last few months where it's been multiple questions from each person answered. So please remember just to send 2 questions. The most important one is the one you should send first, or number them by importance. Also put your name unless you want it to be anonymous. Now remember, if you do that anonymously and you send a personal question about yourself, it's a little more difficult for Treb or Aridif to pin into your energy. So you use a nickname if you're not comfortable using your name. And do that. Also, be specific who you want to answer the question, Treb or Aridif. This question's for Treb, this one's for Aridif. And that way, they will know who it's for, Kalina will know who it's for, and it will be done that way. If you don't address who you want a question to, it will go to whoever is most apt to answer that question or whoever's there in that moment. So please remember that. Also wanted to tell all of you guys how much we love you, how much we appreciate all the support that we've been given this last few months. We have not produced as much work as we normally do compared to last year at this time of the year. Actually, at this time of the year, my father was already sick, so work started dropping off. But, you know, a couple of months ago, this last year, we were doing so much work and so busy and so crazy, putting out a lot of videos. This month, it's slowed down a little bit, but your guys' support and love has never slowed down, and we are so grateful for that. Kalina Angell is also here with us today. She's going to be pinging in just a minute to share some very anticipated and exciting news with you guys regarding some very exciting stuff. Also, we wanted to let you guys know that today we're going to do, as normal, 2-hour Q&A. So this channeling takes me up to about the maximum of channeling I can do is 2 hours. So we've cleared that time for you guys to do that. When you guys ask your question, another thing too that's very important is when you're asking a question, to ask a question, for example, hey, I wanted to ask Aridif about one of my past lives. That's a question. When you ask, hey, can he tell me something about one of my past lives and how it affects me today? That's still very connected and part of that question. But we've gotten a lot of questions recently that say, hey, can Aridif tell me about my past life and what it's like, or how it affects me today and what I can do with it to go into the future and how that relates to this experience I'm having now? Also, does any of that stuff interact with my new job that I'm getting, and how will that new job take me into my next step of the evolution of my spiritual journey? And also, how does that affect my dog? Now, we understand the excitement to get as much information as you can with these, but all of those things, even though they're seemingly related, those are multiple questions. And to get to everybody, we want 1 question, 1 point of answer. Now, I've talked to Aridif and Treb, and I didn't tell them to water down anything or to shorten the information, but I did tell them instead of going 10-15 minutes into answering 1 question, to try to relay it as directly and quickly as possible so we can make sure we get to everybody's question. And hopefully, if that happens and that pattern can continue, we can get to everybody's question once and maybe even a second round. Who knows? We never know how that'll take us. But if we get those multi-question, 1 question, then we always end up going 10 minutes into an answer because they try to touch on as much of it as relevant. So please remember 1 question for all the questions. And also remember that December's webinar is still up in the air. We don't know if we're going to be able to do that this year because the weekend that it would lands right on that Christmas area, and we're going to be traveling for Christmas this year. So that is still a 50-50 shot. We don't know if we're just going to wait until the new year comes and do at the end of January or the beginning of January, but we will have that announced. If you guys follow us on Facebook, that's the best way to get up-to-the-minute updates for the information. Our personal Facebook pages are really the best ways to do that. Rob Gauthier, if you put it in, you'll see this beautiful mug up there, and Kalina the same way with her beautiful sunshine face. Those are the pages where we're most active with up-to-date information, but we also try to make sure all of our Facebook things are up-to-date. Our Twitter and our monthly email list are not as accurate with up-to-date information because things can be so fluid. So just remember, right now I'm at 5,000 friends, so I can get a friend request, or you can follow me and maybe not send the request. It just depends on if I'm up 5,000 or close to 5,000. But just remember, if you follow us on Facebook, you can get all those updates up to the minute. I am going to hand it over to Kalina. I'm going to take the next 5 to 7 minutes to neutralize. When I get back, we are going to jump right into the channeling, start taking your questions. And I want to give this off to Kalina so that she can give you the most exciting news of the month. Okay, and we are good with that. So beautiful. All right, sweetie, you take it over. I love you, and thank you so much.
I love you too. All right. Well, everybody, hello again. And our internet's a little slow, so I'm sorry that you're going to be hearing my voice again. No camera today, but we will be remedying that soon. But I wanted to welcome all of you guys and say hello. And I also wanted to give you some exciting news. As many of you have already know about the channel panel, there's just been there was a humongous delay. It was supposed to be released on Halloween, and then we were having all these issues with the editing stopping its rendering, and then we're just going through a lot of stuff like that and having to re-render, and it finally has gone through. And we are setting up the store now. Those of you that already attended the channel panel, of course, you'll get your copies because those were included. But that is going to be released on Tuesday because now that everything's rendered, we're just simply uploading and we're updating the website. So all that information is going to be there, and it'll be there probably midday Tuesday, but it will definitely be there Tuesday. So we're very excited. And if you are fans of a particular channeler, you can also go to their websites and get it if you just wanted an excerpt of it, but you can also get it from us. It's $55. It's the same as for the video. It's the same price as it was for attending it live. We just wanted to keep it low. And for those of you that might have bought one day or the other, we just deduct that price from it. You just let us know that you had paid for one of those days. But yeah, it's really exciting. We wanted to keep it super low. For those of you that don't know about the channel panel, we had 14 channelers and also a bonus channeling. I actually have been working on bringing my channeling forward in a more vocal way. I'm a lot more private than Rob is about my channeling, but I've been coming forward more with that. So you're going to be seeing this coming year a lot more of my written and working on the vocal channeling, bringing it forward. But it's a very early recording of the theme of the channel panel for this year, which was emerging beyond the unknown. But yeah, check out thechannelpanel.com. We had some really incredible channelers. Obviously, Rob was there. We had others like Krista Reza, Daniel Scranton. We even had a couple psychics like Kelly, also known as Kelly and the Raw. We had Psychic Bob, who's known as Bob Hickman. The list goes on and on. We had some really incredible people. So, but I don't want to advertise too much in your ears, but we're really excited. We've had a lot of questions from you guys wondering, hey, when is that going to come out? And a lot of you guys who had attended and you were really wanting to see what that was about. The other exciting news that we have is that the 2015 channel panel, we're going to be re-uploading that because we know that some of the audio was out of sync with the video when Wendy Kennedy was presenting. And what's exciting about that is the 2015 is going to be free for all to watch. We are going to have it to where if you want to donate so that we can split it among the channelers for the 2015 year, we can give some money toward them as well. And also as well as this year, $55, but we're all splitting it up with them. But you're not obligated to pay. You can still watch it for free. We're going to upload it on YouTube. But for those of you that are going to be buying this year's channel panel, we're going to be providing a downloadable copy for last year's 2015 channel panel as well. For those of you that purchase it, you can also get a downloaded version of that as well. So if you are not online at some point somewhere, you'll have access to it. So anyway, again, big announcement. We're very, very excited about it. And that's it. And then also, hopefully, I think my parents, if they're free, they just called and I told them that we're going to be here. So if you see the name Granville Angel or Alice Angel pop up, that's my parents. Just giving a shout out just in case they're able to log in and join us. And yeah, and I don't know if they're going to be in the chat room. If you guys are here and listening, chat room usually on the right hand side towards bottom, and you can join us and talk. And anybody else that doesn't know about that, of course, we've got the chat room. I'm going to also post again the questions. As Rob said earlier, you just send your questions over to the Google form. You don't have to have a Gmail to fill out the form. You just fill it out and click submit. If you have any technical issues, I'm going to go ahead and put down my email, lena.angel@gmail.com. And that is where you can say if you have any technical issues. And I've also made sure that if you decide that you want to alter your question, I've made that available to you guys so that if you need to change your question anyway or alter, or let's say maybe someone, sometimes when we ask questions, it inadvertently answers the question that you were going to ask. And if that happens, it's nice to be able to alter that, because I know all of you guys have burning questions, and you know, it limits you to asking 2 questions. And I know it can be tough to like think, oh gosh, which 2 questions do I ask? We are also going to do our very best to ask as many questions as possible. We're going to try to get at least 1 question each asked from all of you guys as time permits. We start the 2 hours from the time that Treb and Aridif come in. So we're not going to count Rob's, you know, deep breathing or my explaining anything here. So I'm going to check in with Rob, see how he's doing, because I know he's grounding and centering right now. Just going to open the door 1 second.
Almost there.
Almost there? Okay, good. Yeah, he's almost there. Okay. I'm going to take a look at the questions in the meantime and confirm with you guys who I got as far as names. If you didn't put in your name, you might want to go back and see if you did. So I've got questions from Scott, Robert H., Chyrese, Scott Q. I think that's the same one. I think Rob may have added that. Luciana, Deborah, Natan, Sergi, Aaron, Georgie, Carolina, Ashley, Edward, Maz. So look who's the second one. We have an anonymous question. We have another person who isn't named. Another one from Sergi. Second one from Aaron. Second question, Otto. Ashley. And another question, which I think it's from Ashley. It just says question 2. So yeah, if you did not hear your name, you might want to see if you can alter it. It should be able to let you alter once you click on the link again. If not, it's okay if you need to repeat, but please don't repeat if you did hear your name, because that means that it went through, and I don't want to accidentally read the same question twice. So yeah, is there anybody here that did not hear their name? I'm looking in the chat room. And again, if you haven't gotten a chance to write your questions down yet, I'm going to send it again in the chat room. And also my email, if for whatever reason you are not able to get through or having technical issues, feel free to write me. Again, it's trebchanneling.kalina@gmail.com, and I put it in the chat room for you guys. I love you guys. Oh my God, I'm so excited for today.
It is an exciting day indeed, and I am ready to rock and roll. Is there anything else, baby, before we get started?
Just what you think the timestamp would be. I'm looking at the time, but I'm not sure if my time
about 4:20 would work, probably. 4:20,
Perfect.
4:25, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
will mark that down. I'll keep an eye on the breathing too for how long you take to come in.
Thank you, sweetie. And I wanted to, before we get started, guys, kind of let you know, the new Metatron video is up. In there is an explanation of why we're only at Tool 7 at the 11th month of the year. It also gives you really good insight. It was recorded the day after the election. So there's a lot of energy about fear, releasing doubt, kind of accepting, all of those things that are very pertinent and important. Also, I wanted to let you guys know, if this is your first time here, when you ask your own personal question, a part of your energy engages within you. And that's one of thousands of different layers of energy. For instance, there's emotional, mental, experiential, psychic, all of these different types of layers within you. There's layers in time, personality. I mean, literally anything you can think of, there's layers. So when you ask a question about it, the layers that are specifically intended to connect with that idea ignite within you. And sometimes they connect to your higher self or a guide, hybrid children, whatever the case is. And Treb and Aridif see that energy. They don't look at you as a physical being. They use my sense, my psychic intuition, my ability, and they use that to connect with your energy. So they connect to you, to me, and the connection between. When they do that, they pull out that information, they extract the information they need, and then they reflect it with the best version of that energy with their perception. And the reason I tell everyone that is so that you guys can remember that if you enjoy this, if you have fun, if you try to release as much anxiety as you have, even if the questions are scary or a big part of your life, it only helps allow that question to get the best answer possible. And it's important to just have fun with it, relax. And that's what I wanted to let you guys know. It's a bigger theme in the whole year, is to trust ourselves and relax and let go of anything that's not important in our spiritual, mental maturity and emotional growth that we have. So I want to thank you guys again for being here. I'm going to take a drink of water again. Actually, I need to grab my backup for the water after this one runs out, which I'm sure will be soon. And sorry for the big jugs, but Aridif and Treb go through a lot when I'm channeling.
And I also wanted just so that everybody knows, I see that we've got 2 Scots with us. So when you guys hear a lot of Scots going on, not the same person, and I wanted you guys to know that I acknowledge both of you and see that you guys are your own entities and you have your questions. So no worries there.
Beautiful, sweetie, and thank you so much for that. There we go, guys. Everything's out on the table. We're going to jump in. The 2 hours will be right around 4:20 to 4:25 Eastern Standard Time. It's 2:21 now, so I imagine 4:25 will probably be around when we wrap it up. Enjoy yourself, guys, and here we go. I'm going to bring in Aridif first, and then we'll go from there. Love you guys. Greetings to you all, this is Aridif, that is Aridif in this spell. We understand many of you have many queries, but before diving into these queries, there are 4 things that we must express. The very first thing is greetings to you all, as we've expressed previously. This is not only a greetings of formality, it is a greetings that gives our own energy of heart and mind to co-create, to mix, and to offer to all of you who desire to take this energy, to utilize this energy, and to co-create with it. Secondly, we wish to express greetings to you, Kalina.
Greetings to you also, Aridif. How are you and Treb doing today?
Yes, we are doing great, and it is of the greatest excitement to be here with you in this moment. The third thing that we wish to touch on is the fact that all of you are loved. You understand this idea, but to express, to reiterate the concept, to I love you is an energy that is expressed as two different entities, two separate entities connect with their own version of love to one another. It can be accepted, it can be given, but it also can be withdrawn. When you are loved, it is an eternal essence. It is the energy of the creator consciousness and source itself, providing what it is, in fact, love to all of you. The fourth concept we wish to express is the upcoming year of 2017. The energies within this year are very, very much being looked upon by the majority of the collective consciousness. Now, we do not wish to dive so deeply into this. It takes away the time and opportunity for all of you to find your queries. But we must express that this year represents a great shift in the collective consciousness. The year that you are in this moment, 2016, represents the construct of individual exploration, reconstruction of the version of self that all of you are. The year before is the version of connection, where you yourself start connecting outwards to others, connecting into your heart. But in this version of 2017, it is a representation of that version of your own consciousness shifting in great degrees. Now, this year has been greatly difficult for a great deal of you, but also many of you have experienced understandings beyond previous experiences and understandings. The reason that you have had the opportunity to rebuild your understandings in this year, whether you've went through the difficulties or if you have not, is because you have spent the last few years of your incarnation shifting through the inner consciousness matrix. You have learned to go through your own consciousness as if it were a map to the universe, exploring the different aspects and attributes. In that way, your emotional, mental, psychological, and also telepathic areas can much be considered as a galaxy map. You have the center of your own self, much as the center of each galaxy, the part that holds all of yourself together, the heart. The exploration of this has been a great joy to many of you. But also, many of you have drawn a great deal of pain when looking into your heart. Many of you have seen the parts of yourself that were not willing to love, that were not willing to connect to others, the part of yourself within the heart that has grown a great wall, not allowing anyone in only allowing yourself out when it feels safe. That exploration is vital for the understanding of how to remove that wall, or how to transmute that wall into something that is more permanently accessible from yourself to others and vice versa. In the allowance of that exploration, you have found what the fourth density means, that third to fourth density exchange energy that all of you have been going through for the last 4 years. That exploration gives you that very greatest opportunity to start your fourth density journey in such a beautiful and fantastic way, exploring the different parts of your own consciousness, much as this galactic map. You go to your mental self, find a great deal of you with a great deal more sharpness in your mental faculties. Also, some of you find a bit more fuzzying as it goes. Now, this effect of fuzziness versus clarity that is happening in a polarized version of both of you is experienced due to the fact that some of you are sharpening what you have not had previously to the degree that you have had. Some of you, although your mental faculties ran well, you did not inherit that version of your consciousness, that desire to have mental sharpness, that desire to be able to process thought in a much quicker manner. The majority of those entities that are involved before the sharpening process were those who existed in their higher chakras, those who existed in their heart, throat, third eye, and crown, instead of in their first, second, third, and heart. Those that were always disconnected from the grounding that they needed in order to access the most physical part of yourself, the brain. the part of your consciousness that connects to your brain and allow your thoughts to be much quicker. Now, those of you who are starting to get a bit more blurry within your own thinking, that is because at one point you were living in your lower chakras, your first, second, third, and fourth. By doing this, you were always grounded, always looking at the earth energy directly. Now you are starting to access those higher chakras. In that, you are coming a bit ungrounded in order to explore the most etherical portions of your consciousness, just as those who were living in their higher chakras are starting to ground in to their lower chakras, allowing that sharpened thought. Each aspect of your own overall entity that you have explored can be likened to that map and version of the galactic consciousness. Each part that you continue to find in this 2017 region will only allow you to keep access to that as a personal, permanent tool to your creation forward. Now, we touch a point within your galactic experience in your upcoming time that you deem 2017 with points that are very valid in the energy in this now moment. Yes, you understand, all of you, that when we express that this can come in this time period within the next year, that those are probabilities placed within the highest percentage of that now moment. By looking at that, understand, the more that you are excited about what we are about to say, the more likely you are to create that experience for yourself. Going from the beginning of the year in January, this part will be spilling over for most of you that are an experience of finally coming around the difficulties that you have experienced in the mid to beginning part of this year and starting to heal all of that at the end of this year into the beginning of next. Many of those things that felt as if they were starting to heal will start feeling more completely healed. These are emotional energies with all of you. Those of you who are starting to master relationships, having those relationships that have fallen apart, deaths that have occurred from ones that are loved, in experiences where you and those that you love have not been able to be reconciled. That beginning of the year, going into late January, you will start seeing many of those come to completion. Also, when you look into that area that you call the old Scandinavian countries, there will be a great deal of mass sightings that occur within that region. Within that region also, not only will many entities be able to experience the capturing of these unidentified flying objects, they will also be able to have remembrance on previous things that have occurred in similar areas of the world. For instance, those of you in the area of Denmark who start seeing multiple UFOs within that time period will start remembering times back into the 80s where it was much more intense, where things were experienced by more entities. That will be a remembrance, and you will connect back to that older generation of entities who experienced that version. Going into February into March, the experience of UFO sightings will be in a hot spot, both in the eastern, southern American continent, in the central United States. More sightings will come to fruition in those areas as the energy flows. Going into the midpoints of the year, in the UFO sighting category, there will be a great deal of those around what you call the Great Lake and Central Plain area. And there will also be a great deal of connections in northwestern Canada. Those energies will be more visible to more people. Now, before going into the rest of the year, we express why it is so important. The visualization of these UFOs are starting to become more and more. You are going from third to fourth density, that veil of consciousness that once blocked the view of many of you are starting to be released. Some of you are seeing this in a mass sighting version. That means the collective of those who first perceive, and secondly, those who co-create seeing the media that it occurs on, whether it is picture or video, are starting to raise their vibration. Those entities are starting to allow more of themselves coming into their higher consciousness. So this is something that we perceive as very important. Going from the June and July year, months of your time, into August and September, there will be a great more deal of sightings in the areas of South Africa and Northern European countries. And we are not speaking of the Scandinavian areas, south of this, but north of the Southern European countries. This is more centralized France, Germany, southern portions of the UK, all of those areas all the way out into the Cyprus regions, that UFO areas will start increasing in sighting. We will see a great deal of energy also around the areas from Sedona to mid-Texas that raise more and more sightings. We also look into that area of North Dakota at that point of your year, passing the summer, entering that part of early fall. A great deal of energy will be around that same category of energy that you are perceiving as the North Dakota pipeline. A great deal of energy will be put into that collectively. Going forward from that period, you will start noticing that Russian and Japanese areas of the sky will start seeing into the late fall. In that area, more and more sightings will be seen. Then you are concentrating on the Central America area towards the end of the year. We are speaking all the way from Ecuador to the most northern parts of Brazil. That entire area will have much more sightings. And we do not mean only in the central area. If you go around the equator all around the world, you will perceive this. Also in the area of Australia, mostly the northwestern and southeastern portions of Australia, including New Zealand, New Guinea, all of those areas will start seeing more and more UFO activities and continuation. Now, also we wish to express quickly that in 2017, many of those who search the earth for a living, geologists, if you will start finding more evidence that link your past to extraterrestrial contact, that will start seeing very specific clues that are hard for the collective to ignore. We perceive that in that African region and Middle Eastern region, between the end of your spring to the beginning of your fall, that is one time that is most excitedly and most pertinent to the way the energy flows. We could spend the entire 2 hours speaking of what is going to come energetically in 2017 in the probabilities of this moment, but we know that each moment changes. Whichever of these things that excite you the most, putting your energy, time, and effort into those things will only allow more co-creations with it. We thank you. We are ready for your queries at your leisure.
Thank you so much, Aridif. That's so awesome.
Yes.
We really appreciate the details that you give. And so we'll go on with have a question from one of our Scots. And he says that it can be answered by either you or Treb. And he asks if possible, he wants to make sure the answer is tailored to his level of understanding, not too general as much as possible. He says, since I was a kid, I've always felt like everything was obvious to me, which has caused me a lot of mixed emotions. I never felt like I had come here to learn, but rather to teach people, show the way to others. I never felt any feeling of belonging or if I came from here. So I think he wants more information regarding that.
Yes, we understand. And thank you, Kalina. First of all, when you are looking at this idea overall, you already understand a great deal of what energy is involved. The higher level of understanding that you have felt for the entirety of your incarnation is very specifically reason to the fact that you have placed more of your higher fractalized consciousness into the lower self in order to expansively understand with that, perhaps as you would see it, faculty of intuition as a precognitized energy. Allow that to come into your reality in a young age so that you are able not only to explore, but deeply explore. Now, when we say explore, we understand many of these things come to you as already known. So in your mind and perception, you are not perceiving, or perhaps as you would say it, you are not truly seeking, you are understanding. But in that way, what we see is there is a level of understanding that still must occur. It seems simple to find that these things, your higher fractal consciousness and intuition, working as one, have allowed a great deal of information, but that information within yourself has been expanded upon. For instance, we are giving an example. Let us say, for instance, someone expressed to you the concept of extraterrestrials that were once in the past history of man thought of as gods were actually bringing information over. You say, yes, I understood that innately. I innately understood to the deepest core of myself what else is there to that idea. But the thought process that comes into your awareness, once that information feels at home with you, already known to you, is an exploration of all of the accountings that you are already aware of. So by the knowing, it has already led you to more questions. Even when those questions' answers come back to you, it still causes that spidering effect of question and answer within yourself. This is given to you as a great tool of understanding large amounts of information with only one subject being expressed. Now, you say that there is a reason for this. You say that you feel as if you should be teaching, telling, or expressing this information to others, and you are quite right with this. Before being born, pre-incarnation, you expressed to yourself, my desire is to help as many other humans as possible in this incarnation. By doing this, by understanding innately, by expressing that concept and expressing it out into multiple concepts, that in itself is already helping those around you. Vibrationally and energetically, you are feeding that information into the grid at a higher pace. When you express the concept, helping people with your own understanding, due to the fact that you are one of those energies of grid workers, that your energetic base is exactly those who push more energy from your own consciousness into the grid, you have helped a great deal of people without ever speaking a word. Now, for those of you who do not understand the grid working concept, each one of you bring energies in from your root chakra and crown chakra simultaneously into your heart chakra. Then the energy is expedited outwards simultaneously from the heart, going out your root and out the crown simultaneously. When it goes out of the root chakra, it goes directly into the earth itself, Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you desire to name this entity. Then, when it goes out of your crown, it goes into the etherical grid. Some of you call this ley lines, dragon lines, whatever it is that you call this. It goes out into an electromagnetic field or an electromagnetheric grid that connects all humans and all living things and even non-living things together. When you are doing this, you are sharing, let us use, for example, 1/9 billionth of each human receives that part of energy that you are giving. So to each entity you are giving that part of yourself to them. If they are willing to open themselves for it, they can accept it. But those who grid work are giving approximately 10 to 12 times the amount of energy back into the grid and into the earth that an average human being is. So just in your grid working, you are already sharing and giving a great deal of information outward. If you desire to expand beyond that idea, you can start sharing information that you know in several mediums. What we suggest to you is understand that when you grid work and when you teach, this is a great wear and tear to one's energy when they initially take the steps to start working within that medium. When you start placing yourself in front of many, plus you are working on pushing out 10 to 12 times the amount of energy that the average human lets out into the grid, into the earth, this balance being found can be extremely exhausting initially. But after you find your own balance, you do not let others' words affect you, their perceptions of what you are affect you, then you will be able to flow more easily. Remind yourself that when you start sharing and you see those pushing back on you, they are not entities that are separate from you, just desiring to mess up your day. They are reflections of your own internal fears of not being accepted by others. The more that you teach while grid working, the more energy you will expend. So the continuation of that process will truly allow yourself to share to the utmost with all. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people here that are listening can completely relate to that. I probably have a lot of grid workers here.
Yes, there is a great deal of energy that comes from all of the entities that are co-creating not only in this day, but those who in the future are connecting also.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you for that question, Scott. Our next question comes from Robert, and it's for you, Aridif. He says, hello, Aridif. Many of us believe that something comes back to us when we do a crime like murder. You mentioned in previous interactions that karma works differently than we believe. When I look at the ancient reptilians, they are malevolent for millions of years. Does something come back to win the form of karma? I can't see this. What is karma? Thank you very much.
Yes, first of all, the definition that the majority of humans use in karma is what I do receive backwards. That means if I am evil, if I am malevolent, if I am willing to step upon the free will of others, I will have that returned upon me. Now, this is much different than the way that the universe works. When we express the word karma in our own perception, we are trying to reach to the minds of those of you who perceive it in one way. The law of attraction makes most entities feel that that is the same as karma. The law of reflection and interaction, many entities also express those terms into the ideology similarity or the ideologic similarities of karma. What we can express to you is the way that karma is perceived by the human consciousness collectively is structurally flawed due to the fact that when you send something out into the universe, you always do receive something back. But in karma, if I am sending something bad out, that means I'm getting something bad back. When those who send something in your perception negatively out into the universe can receive positive and good things back. Why is this? It is not simply about sending something out. It is what you are sending out. If you are in alignment with your beliefs, if you are in alignment with your thoughts, and if you are in alignment with your actions, you do not receive negative experiences. Let us use an example, perhaps to try to show all of you this idea more clearly. A negative being, for example, in your perception, negative. And first of all, to perhaps jump backwards for one moment, the universe does not see negative and positive. When we use those words, we are using those so that the majority of you can identify with this idea. The universe does not see, just as your oversoul does not see negative or positive beings. It sees those who are in alignment with themselves in the universe and those that are out of alignment with the universe. When an entity, such as the negative being that you would perceive as Adolf Hitler, goes into a war, he goes in with a belief system that he is doing the correct and positive thing, that he is doing what should be done for the rest of the world. Now, although the rest of the world perceived something gravely different from that, his own consciousness was very clear of what he was doing. In his mind, he was doing the world a favor, making the world a better place. His own belief systems were first part of this equation. The second, his actions, going forward to go into other countries so that they may experience the greatness of what I have to offer. That thought process, that thinking, that energy that is being put into his actions are also feeding his experience. Then, going into that part of the reality where he acts upon the beliefs and upon that energy of thought goes into those other countries. He becomes successful at what he does. The universe gives him a very positive reaction. It says that you believe that you are worthy of leading. You believe that you are doing right, and you are not giving out negative or mixed or misaligned thoughts and actions on what your beliefs say. So you are creating. That is why you find those that most of you call the entities that are Illuminati, those of you that call the ancient reptilians, all of these beings are master manifestors that very frequently only get positive experiences. That is because they are in alignment with themselves. They accept and embrace all that they are. They truly believe that what they are doing is for the best, even if not for others, for themselves. But when you have a belief system that says, I am doing this for myself, I am the only person in the equation that matters, and I will not be stopped in what I am doing, that energy is very potent for creation. Think of this in your own structure. Think of your own mindset. I am going to try to produce free energy for all beings in the world. I believe that I can do this. I truly feel that it will benefit all. If you were truly in alignment, in 100% alignment, without any questions, without any fear that something could stop you, without any beliefs that there are others in the world who do not want you, so they will try to prevent you. When you think, perhaps I should not do this and endanger the safety of myself, the safety of others, perhaps it is not meant to be. All of those things collude your ability to manifest those things. All of the thought processes and energetic resistance collude your ability to step forward into that manifestation. Those ancient reptilians know that if they work through their system and their beliefs with their actions and thoughts, they are able to manifest. That is why the universe does not give them negative experiences back. The universe does not punish one who is in alignment with themselves. The universe, first of all, does not see them to be negative in the first place. So all things they desire are met without any negative connotations. If all of you became in that same alignment, all of you truly trusted in yourself, the universe, and the reasons for acting, each one of you would be able to represent a manifestation clear and free of the negative experiences coming back into you. But the majority of those who experience the things that feel negative is for one of two reasons. The very first reason is you're experiencing something that is a part of your manifestation, but because you have not trusted yourself or the universe enough, it feels as if it is bad or punishing. The second part is that when you send that signal out into the universe, you are sending it with a feeling of imbalance, a question on its ability, or a belief system that it will not work, and it comes back to you in that very same way, quite imbalanced. We hope that you understand that perception as you are going forward. Clarity of thought, belief, and with your heart's intent will allow you the manifestations to be more clear within yourself, and we thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif. And I wanted to add to that, just for clarity, a question to you about, you were talking about how, for instance, the Draconians, you know, they're able to be master manifestors because they're aligned with their self. What about for those of us that want to seek alignment with ourselves, but also with the consideration of others? So can you give us maybe an example before we move to the next question? Because I think a lot of people would like to know that.
Yes, first of all, when you perceive yourself out of alignment with all that is, you are already stepping upon your first stumbling block in helping co-create something that works for all entities. So if your truest desire is to manifest something for yourself without bumping into anyone else's energy, that in of itself is impossible, because you have already distinguished yourself separate from all that is. When you work within those reins of knowing that you are connected, knowing that each action you take is for the benefit of the collective, then it will be manifestational prowesses that most humans have never thought of perceiving. It is something that us in the sixth dynasty and Treb Bor Yit NE in the fifth have already come into alignment with. When you understand that your own energy stepping forward is a part of the co-created collective consciousness, and that in that action of excitement you can only benefit all those around you, then you are creating on an instantaneous manifestation level. Let us use, for example, if I were to say I am going to a different planet to co-create with all of the entities there, let us say every being that lived upon that planet desired for me to be there but one, then some entities would perceive, when you go to that planet, you are not making that one entity's life happier or smoother or better. In our perception, that entity, by not allowing my own energy to go there when all of the rest desire to, when it does not feel resonance with my own energy, it is because it has also perceived itself out of alignment. And that co-creation of that awkward feeling within that being for himself or herself will allow itself to understand itself more, to grow. So even in those experiences that most of you are perceiving as negative, those experiences are not meant as punishments, as a karmic force to reinforce that you should be or should not be doing something. Those are only lessons to be experienced, reflected upon, and reiterated back into your consciousness until you can see why it feels awkward or imbalanced in the first place. Those car crashes, those going broke, those becoming homeless, although those all seem very terrible to all of you, when you look upon that energy on the other side, once the problem has been figured out by yourself, you always see it was for a reason. But in the moment, it is much more difficult to do. Practice refocusing yourself in that allowing state in the moment. If you are able to know that even the negative experiences are for your growth, for the learning process, or for an opportunity to arise at a later point, those can all be turned from negative to positive things. In fact, we have always expressed perception by itself is the difference between a positive experience, a negative, or an indifferent one.
Thank you so much, Aridif. I really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
All right. Our next question comes from Tyrese, and I hope I said your name correctly. If I didn't, forgive me. But Tyrese says, can you offer a message of insight from my higher self regarding where my excitement is leading me into what I call my future? You are loved.
Yes, one moment, please. We will connect to an entity that is connected to your energy that desires to connect perhaps more directly. One moment, please. What a wonderful day to share this message with you. I want to share excitement for you and excitement how it works with your energy. You have spent such a part of your life saying, what can really excite me? what can truly be a part of the excitement that leads me forward. And I think that is something that doesn't just plague you, but many other human beings. A part of them that says, how can I find so much excitement when all things seem equally exciting, or no things seem exciting, and it always happens all at once? I either have 20 things to be excited about or no things to be excited about. And the struggle for that allows you to start seeing more of what you want and more of what you don't want in your life. But now comes to a time where you're understanding the excitements. The general messages from your ears before, from the beings who teach humans, is that following the excitement leads you to your chosen path, and that's very good and very positive. But what a lot of them don't teach you is that excitement by itself is such a huge force for humans to explore. Sometimes there's an excitement that comes along and it seems average, or in some cases dull. And then there's a part that says that's not exciting. But a lot of the time, the reason why that occurs is because you're not really letting yourself be in that moment and in that experience. When the experience comes along, try to not worry about how it will turn out for you. When you worry about how it turns out, it takes the fun out of it. When you just sit there and you open your energy up to just experiencing it, it turns into more fun and more exciting. The more exciting and more fun that you're able to have with that experience, it will give you more from that experience. Right now, the few excitements that are at the leading part of your life, some of them are doable, but some of them seem very difficult because there's not finances or opportunities to do some of them. But most of the people on earth are thinking about how it can't be done. Many of your guides, along with myself, try asking you to look at the parts that you can do. Of course, you can't fly on a plane across the world and go country to country without money right now, but there are a lot of ways you can do that. There are a lot of ways you can buy equipment. There are a lot of ways you can do things without money. And each phone call you make and each interaction with another person who's already experiencing those things, each of those steps just to try to be around the energy is important. So calling someone and saying, I want to be able to travel, but I have no money, what can I do for that? They can give you an exchange for that, or by doing something else that you're excited about, that you're good at, others can travel for you. There are so many pathways to finalize your excitement that are important to look at. And by only seeing it happen in a few different terms, that really makes you miss out so much on the things that can be. Understanding the level of excitement in your mind is so important to being able to see how many times and how many ways you can start looking for that excitement. So just remember, when you are following your excitement, to let it lead you to all different areas and all different kinds of experiences, not just the obvious one or two. And when you start going there, don't worry about anything but that minute and that second and the fun and joy of that. I've seen many other humans on Earth go into a restaurant with their friends and say, I want to go have fun with my friends, but when they're there, they're worried about how long the food is taking to come, or why the music is so loud or not on the right frequency. And all of these things they're mentally picking apart in their head instead of enjoying the company of their friends, instead of knowing that what they were trying to achieve is already happening. When they get there, they're so worried that it won't come out right. They block the feeling of it being right. So just keep attacking that excitement and let yourself be free in the moments. Right now, it's leading you towards a path that you've never expected it to lead you to. There is an opportunity in 2.5 years coming in your future that if you just allow the excitement to be and be in that moment will really blow your mind away. It will make you feel, I never thought this could happen, but you have to first let it happen. Goodbye. We are back without hesitation or delay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a sweet energy.
Yes.
So our next question comes from Scott Q, and this question is for Treb. So I'll wait for Treb to.
Yes. One moment, we will connect you. Good evening, Kalina.
Good evening, Treb Bor Yit NE. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing very well.
Always wonderful to see your smiling face.
Yes, and it is wonderful to see your smiling face as well.
Thank you so much for being here with us today also. And we have a question for you from Scott Q. He says, "Hi, Treb. Good to connect with you again. I was wondering what you feel most excited to comment upon in regards to my current consciousness frequency state and where you see it most likely heading within the next couple of weeks or so, as I feel, especially in the couple of months, that I have shed a lot and feel on the cusp of great and exciting change. Much love to you."
Yes, it is also very exciting to connect with you again as well. I know that there are many things in your experience in the past 2 years that have been both difficult and very exciting. And as you have shared a great deal of your energy with others, and as you have shed a great deal of those limiting and resistant-based energies, the more that you come into that alignment with your own happiness, the more that you come into alignment with your ability to look at what you are doing, what you have done, the more that it allows that pathway in front of you to be more free and more probabilities to occur that are fun and great and very exciting. What we perceive in the next few weeks of your experience is there will be a great deal of shifting from your everyday experience. The very first level that we see this happen upon is a psychological level. You have already noticed the great shift within your energy of how you perceive the world, how you think of the world, how you experience the world. But psychologically, what we suggest, or what we perceive and suggest, is that as you start shifting more so into a streamlining of manifestations in front of you, that as you start going through those, remind yourself that you have already given a great deal of your energy into these manifestations, and you have also shed a great deal of resistance. There is a part that we see that suggest to yourself that as I have gone through a great deal of shifting, there is still a little part of myself that feels that it is not 100% appropriate for me to get such wonderful and great experiences. and often am doubting why these experiences would come into my own fruition. So in that energy, we suggest that you be easy with yourself, that you know that the opportunities that present themselves in the next 1.5 months are very much a part of your own deservance and of your own creation. When you are perceiving this, when you are confronted with the changes that can occur within your own physical, emotional, and mental changes that can occur, to remind yourself that every thread of your own heart and every thread of your own mind are most definitely deserving of it, and that as you go through, when you are given multiple choices of what to do with your own self, to remind yourself that what excites you in the moment is most definitely the right decision. Continuating your own energy and the excitement that is best fitting is always the most appropriate answer, but for your next 1.5 months, it is even more important, as it will get you a great deal of excitement that is very important, that you have been trying to receive for a great deal of many years now.
Thank you so much, Treb.
Yes, and thank you as
Oh,
well.
oh, that's wonderful. Our next, let's see, who was next? Okay. Well, I can see that we will be bringing you back again a little later on, Trevi. So,
Yes, we are back without hesitation or delay. Treb Bor Yit NE also sends its excitement for the bringing back of him at a near future point. We thank
yes,
you.
thank you. Awesome, Aridif. Thank you so much. All
Yes.
right. Our next question's for you, and it's from Deborah. And she says, a few days ago, I had a dream where I was in a place of teaching and learning. I saw a very famous actor trying to learn the contents of a book of knowledge. His teacher, who was beside him, left, and I knew I was to replace the teacher, which I did. So I was the new teacher for this actor. As in real life, I was not impressed that the actor was famous. I was just interested in helping him learn. Please help me understand this dream. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, as you are dreaming this own dream state and this own certain energy as it comes forward, you try to represent the figurative and literal meanings within this construct in your mind as a breaking down of what is happening, what is occurring. First of all, we suggest for you to see this and perceive it both literally and figuratively. This portion of your dream state is created in that third layer of dream state. What we mean by this is that you are creating this in the most higher version of consciousness available. This is between the sixth density and the oversoul. So right before physical existence goes into non-physical existence, that is where this template level of creation occurs with your third layer of dream state. One moment, we must hydrate Rob's throat. So as you are in that third layer of dream state consciousness, there are a great deal of things that are occurring. First of all, you are symbolizing a concept that you are already aware of. The physical versus non-physical state of yourself. Your non-physical energy or higher fractal consciousness is a representative of the smaller version of the oversoul energy. What we mean by this is, although that higher fractal consciousness is very non-physical in the way you experience it, it also represents that polarity removal of energy from your experience. This is the part of your own self that sees complete neutrality, no good, no bad, only experience. That energy represents the teacher paradigm. They want you to have your experience. They do not care if you pass or fail the class as long as you attend. That energy is the teacher paradigm in this dream state. There was a teacher within your own existence long ago. That part of you was much different, Deborah, than the one that occurs now. The actor represents the lower fractal consciousness, the one who must act within the greatest play of them all, physical existence. That part of your own self that desired so greatly to teach this entity without a very non-neutral state, that other person leaves, and you in your own neutrality come in, not concerned of the actors crediting, not caring of the famousness of this person, only caring to teach. That energy represented your higher fractal. So you step into your teacher role, teaching this actor, which is actually your lower fractal consciousness, how to work within the realms of its own experience, just as in any play that is written. From the very beginning to the very end, that physical experience lasts from birth to death. Although you do not have to train it how to do its lines, you must express to it that energy works with it from day to day, experiences that it desires it may have, but you are the one that connects it to all that is. When it desires to be taught, it will ask you. When it desires to be connected into higher fractions of consciousness, it will contact you, it will connect you. So you are being a beacon and a portal for the lower fractal consciousness in this dream, to have access to all things. Now, the reason you step in instead of some faceless person or other entity is because now you can assign yourself into that higher role. Now you can perceive the highest portion of your entity as in control of the entire play, as in control of the entire environment in which the play is created. This is why you created this energy, to pull through the lesson that you know your higher self, that you are in contact with that higher self, any direction you desire, any connection that you intend to have can easily be accessed by connecting to the truest essence of your full entity. And when we say full entity, we do not mean your higher fractal consciousness. We mean your higher fractal consciousness plus your lower fractal consciousness. By embracing the person you are and tapping into the entity that is the higher portions of yourself, it completes the play, it completes the story, it completes the experience and all opportunities to learn and to teach. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Yes.
And also, Deborah, for your question. Let's see who we have next. We have also a question for you, Aridif, from Narton. He says, thank you for communicating with us. There is much love and appreciation for you. So I feel a strong connection to a feline energy that seems like family. It feels like it's a group consciousness, but I'm not entirely clear on it. Would you please connect to my energy and give me some details about this particular connection? Where are they from? What density, etc.?
Yes, first of all, you are feeling that feline presence, and the reason it feels as if it is collective is because there are multiple entities that are feline in nature within your oversoul connection. There are at least 12 different feline entities that we can perceive that connect to your higher fractal consciousness through that auspices of the oversoul consciousness or construct. So in that essence, all 12 of these entities have at one point or time connected to yourself in dream state, through your higher self as a nudge of energy, or otherwise. Now, when you are looking at all 12 of these, that feeling of collective, they all have different identities and energies, but the one that you are feeling at the most of your daily experience, the one that you are feeling the strongest connection to, this entity represents a consciousness within the Sirian star system A. The Sirian star system A has a planetary consciousness where there are multiple types and varieties of entities. It is what most humans perceive as a planetary hub, a place where all races are welcome, all races are connected to. This entity exists there, at least can exist and will exist within the rest of your lifetime and period at that place. The origination of the area of consciousness where this entity comes from is from the Pleaidian region. Now, we are not precisely understanding the pronunciation, but in the English pronunciation, we would consider Pleaidian is the name of the star in which they originate from. But this entity is not a part of that collective in this moment. It only is a representation of the origin, this being. When you look at this entity, fifth density consciousness is where it exists in this moment. That is where it communicates, not only with your lower fractal consciousness, but also with your higher fractal consciousness and that fifth density version of you in your sleep state. So you have had direct communication with this entity in your sleep state. To open up that communication a bit more, to remember your dream states and to bring forward that information, start opening the dialogue of that energy. We can translate the greatest version of name for this being, Talcon. And when you say that name, when you hear that name, when you feel the vibration of that name, knowing it is a feline heritage, knowing that it comes from the Pleaidian star, knowing that it exists in Sirius area, knowing it is fifth density, all of those things together, focusing more so on the emotion you feel as you are, knowingly connecting to it in your daily self, bringing all of those things into fruition, combining all of them right before your sleep state with the intent to bring forward that information from your sleep state into your awakened state. It will truly allow more open dialogue with this being. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Yes.
All right. Our next question is for either you or Treb, from Sergey, and he says, thank you for sharing your love and wisdom. Do I have any physical, energetic, or astral implants? If so, what's their purpose and who put them in? Thank you so much.
Yes, first of all, understanding the construct of implants for many other entities that are not aware of what an astral or energetic implant is. We must express and define this first. For those of you who understand what an implant is, a physical implant, it is often a bio or biomechanical portion or technology that is placed within a human being by another race of beings. This can be done for the purpose of tracking, for the purpose of understanding the energetic nature of human, even some that are a bit more type 2 or malevolent reasons, as some would perceive, such as the ability to transmit thought patterns directly to them, without their awareness and also without their acknowledgement. So in that essence, we always suggest that working with any implant in the physical nature, you understand what the effects are within yourself and know that they only have the power to limit you. Now, going into an astral or energetic implant, it is basically the same concept, but it is done in a higher dimensional state. Because you are human, because you carry the multi-dimensional DNA, you have physical structures in third, fourth, fifth, and sixth density, meaning that all of those versions of yourself you can connect to, both in dream state and through meditative, even in awakened state, if you are able to tap into those energies. When you tap into those versions of yourself, you are able to perceive entities that are in similar vibrational, harmonic, and dimensional frequencies. So, answering your question specifically, there are no physical implants within your own structure. There are 3 what you would perceive as energetic implants. 2 of them are from the same race. These entities are gray human hybrids. Some of them call the 5th or 6th step within the evolutionary line of a certain gray genetic. Now, these grays often are referred to by humans as the Zeta Reticuli gray, but in our perception they are not the same entities that have created and connected to the Yahyel, the Pleaidian, and those who have come before them. In fact, when we are looking at these entities, they are very different energetically from those that have created the Sasani and the Yahyel. These entities create themselves and human hybrids for multiple reasons. Many of them are to understand the expansion of emotional consciousness and to help humanity, but they are doing it from a much different vantage point than those who have created the Sasani, Yahyel, and the Pleaidian energies. Now, these specific races, when you are looking at the own construct of where they are coming from the Sagittarius constellation, in the sixth, the brightest star. Those energies and entities are creating hybrids, and two of those implants that are within you are for that hybrid connection. The very first is in between your heart and third chakra. That is so that they are able to read your emotional self, your sense of self, and your connection. The other is based higher in the structure of your physical body, somewhere behind your right shoulder blade. That is one that is for the purpose only of connecting to where your physical structure is in time and space, and to allow the hybrid children that you have to gain access to the other located implant. So by that, both of those run simultaneously as one, so that they may know where you are and connect your sense of self and energy. Now, the third implant is one that is deeply ingrained into your entirety of the body. This is one that is given from your Pleaidian counterparts, entities that are perceived as your galactic family. These entities place one that is only inches away from your root chakra, but the energy spreads throughout the entirety of your body. That is because you have allowed that implant to occur. Your desire to expand your consciousness is given them permission to put in an implant that allows the chakra system to flow at a very small percentage at a higher rate. You did this so that when your flowing chakras are perfectly going, or as high as possible with the amount of resistance that humans carry, it will give you higher advantages in working with yourself and with other beings in your construct. Allowing yourself to connect with that energy is something that can be useful for you as you explore the higher and deeper realms of meditation. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Our next question comes from Aaron. And he says, I've been watching all of the programs of Cosmic Disclosure with Corey Good and David Wilcock. Can you please tell me how accurate this information is and what exactly is going on in our solar system in relation to sphere beings and other beings like these metallic spheres and the many secret space programs?
Yes, first of all, we are not aware of all the information that is shared upon that program. Rob himself, Kalina herself have watched when we are in their presence only a very small percentage of this. Now, we cannot speak on an entity's experience without their permission, but we can tell you that within the area of the sphere beings and blue avians, we perceive this as certain parts being accurate or connected in certain parts, us having no knowledge or awareness of. For instance, with these entities that are considered blue avian, there are several varieties of those blue avians that exist within the galactic consciousness, but hearing words such as 9th and 11th dimensional have no true meaning to us. Although we understand higher matrix, we do not see blue avians that are in the 9th or 11th matrix that connect with humanity in this time at a direct or physical way. In fact, from that percentage of 9th or 11th matrix beings. There are no physical connections that are made to humanity. There are only psychic connections. Now, there are blue avian beings that are 5th and 6th density that have connected with human beings before. In that construct, they are connecting both psychically and very seldomly physically. So in that essence, we see some of that information becoming accurate, some of it being something that we are not able to tap into because we are having no awareness or no connection to it. In the sphere beings, what we perceive sphere beings to be is a multitude of different energies. Some spherical energies can be etheric in nature, higher dimensional in nature. The only reason that humans are perceiving those is because they are tapping in to the most higher aspects of their own third eye. Other entities that are more physical in the spheric nature, very seldomly do these entities connect to humanity. The ones whose consciousness are held within a container that is spherical by nature, this is something that is also different. There are beings who exist naturally in a spherical electronical form, but do not exist fully within this matrix and within this galaxy. There are others who take parts of their own consciousness and break off that parts of their consciousness and put them into smaller containers that are spherical. And those energies are connected with other entities. In that area, there have been contact between those entities and humanity, but literally dozens of different races have done this. They do this so that humans can understand and accept more and more. When they are projecting their consciousness, very seldomly will a type 1 being do this. The majority of those who break apart their consciousness, placing themselves in that spherical area, the majority of those are benevolent type 2s all the way to malevolent type 2s. Some do it for the purpose of manipulation, others do it for the purpose of the enhancement of knowledge and understanding for humanity. To understand which of these beings this entity expresses that they are interacting with would be very important for us to know so that we would have more specific information. But when an idea of sphere beings comes to fruition, this completely entails a great deal of many races that are connected with. We are not saying that any entity has not experienced something that they express they are experiencing. We are only saying what we have experienced while placing our connection to humanity and while spending a great deal of time in the human collective consciousness and also in our past physically dealing with humans. We thank you.
Welcome back, Aridif.
Yes, it is a pleasure. You may begin your queries at your leisure.
Thank you. As I had said, I think before we got off, the next question was for Treb from.
Yes, we are connecting. One moment.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Good evening again, Kalina.
Good evening again, Treb.
Yes.
You're so adorable. You both are, but my goodness, you're so smiley. So Otto has a question for you, and Otto says, I've learned that there are ascended masters connecting with me. Who are they, and what way are they connecting with me, and what can I do to make those and other beings' connections with me more clear in consciousness? You have full permission to read all of my energies.
Yes. When you are looking at your own connection to these entities, it first is going to depend on what you call an ascended master. There are many definitions that many different beings perceive and see. So first of all, we will explain our own perception of ascended master. The ascended masters are entities who no longer have the need to incarnate into a physical existence because they are achieving all that they desire. But in reality, they are still in between the lifetime incarnations of what you would perceive as third to fourth density or fourth to fifth density. In that human experience, linearly, you are looking at the energy or at the part of the consciousness that says that the time period you are in now, all the way to the future, is something that is not connected to by those ascended masters. But the ascended masters have their no time as in their own experience and exist within the future periods and the past. But the most well-known entities are those that are from your past, because those are the only ones that you've ever been able to speak to or experience. So if that is the definition, if the energy are only those of the past that most humans perceive, we perceive much more than those that you are aware of. When we are seeing those who have connected to your energy, we see the energy of the Saint Germain energy that is very strong within your own energy. We also see the Archangel Raphael energy that is also very strong within your own energy. We know that these two are assigned as ascended masters by many human beings. There is also one that is considered a Sananda, that is very connected to you. There is also an energy that is very close to the energy that most humans call Ra, as in the Egyptian god of Ra, that is very connected to. It is not the exact energy of Ra, as many humans start seeing the Ra energy as a collective more so than an entity, and in that energy, the entity that helped align with the collective called Ra is more so in touch with the energy that is connecting with you. There is also the energy of Jesus or Yeshua that is connected with you. The energies that are most relevant to your own energy are the one that is called Raphael and the one that is called Sananda. And those energies are ones that are truly knocking on your front door, so to say. Those energies are the ones that are most easily connected to and traversed with from your consciousness, perhaps even in a state of a channeled area. What you can do to connect to these energies more so is you are already aware of how these energies make you feel, of what you feel like emotionally and mentally when you start feeling these connections. The expansion of those feelings emotionally, the expansion of those feelings as you are connecting to them, is very important for you to explore. In meditation is the greatest way to connect to those energies and expand with them. As you start meditating more deeply and as you start connecting more widely with those emotions, you will start noticing that your chakra systems will become even more active, that they will vibrate more, that you will feel more energy going up and down within them. When that occurs, start focusing on your throat chakra if you desire for them to come through your vocal system, if you desire for them to come through your hand in a written form of channeling, then open your third chakra very deeply and your heart chakra. Heart chakra expanding is a very specifically important for all of the types of channeling that you are able to do. And the more that you just focus on who they are, the emotions expanding past what you are already experiencing, and the allowing of that emotion to overtake your whole energy, the more that you will be able to work with those energies, and the more they will connect you as well. If you desire to open your energy, there are much more than what you consider ascended masters that are working with you. There are many more than just those that we have mentioned previously that are desiring to contact you. One of the strongest energies that you have that desires to connect with you is if you are perceiving in the future version of an oversoul probability, a human consciousness that exists within the time period that is considered 3,400 area, there is an entity who incarnates into the Earth Collective after not incarnating for several thousand of your years linear, that comes to the Earth very much further ahead mentally and psychically than those around them, and helps guide many beings into a further expansion. And the period and point of energy that that entity is at in this moment is just as much in alignment with an ascended master energy, if not in some ways more so, than the specific entities that we have expressed previously, because they are in this moment also with you, and they are also connected as one of your future probable selves. So energetically, it makes them a bit closer to you. Exploring this entity by the representational name of Alval will help you connect even more deeply.
Thank you so much, Treb.
Yes, you are very welcome.
Oh, beautiful question too. All right. So Georgie has a question for Aridif.
Yes, one moment, please.
Thank you, Treb.
Yes, and thank you as well. Well, back without hesitation or delay yet again, this is Aridif.
Welcome back, Aridif.
Yes, it is a pleasure to be back and to co-create with you as well, Kalina.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Our next question is from Georgie. He says, hello, Aridif. Great to speak with you again. My question is about change. You spoke of a shift in energy towards more of the fourth dimension. Treb spoke about changes related to the USA presidential elections of 2016. Vashta also spoke about everything changing in 2016. What can you tell me for changes for me on a personal level? Examples, energy, dreams, connections with entities, etc. I am following your previous advice on chakra-colored triangles. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, greetings again. Again, a pleasure to co-create with you. Secondly, when you are working in the construct of your overall change, you already are aware of a great deal of many energies that have fallen from the resistance within you. First of all, the way you process information and energy, your day-to-day state, is much different, much more accelerated in this moment. Secondly, the emotional energy that you have carried from your past, you are not doing this quite as often. So when you are looking at your past, although it can affect you emotionally, not nearly to the percentage or to the weight that it previously did, those changes are coming. Now, understanding, when Treb Bor Yit NE, myself, the entity you call Bashar, all spoke of that 2016 energy, we were all speaking of probabilities in the collective consciousness of an overall shift of energy, of the way that you perceive your collective. And yes, the collective consciousness is shifting. The collective consciousness is moving forward. But that change had to occur within all of you first to allow you to be within the version of reality where energy is shifting and changing. So congratulate all of yourselves for that. Now, when we are getting back to your specific energy, your own consciousness, as all other entities are, is expanding. Yours specifically is expanding at a percentage of approximately the 94th percentile, which means that when you are looking at all entities in the Earth, your expansion rate is a bit faster than approximately 94% of those that are in the human collective. Although Because your mind does not support this idea at some periods and points, it does not often feel as if it is expanding that quickly. Your higher fractal consciousness is starting to integrate more and more into the lower fractal consciousness. Being aware of what you're shifting emotional, mental energy is very important to allow the higher percentages of your higher fractal consciousness that you are drawing inward to start being effective. That means, for instance, when you start shifting out of that experience of knowing where certain mistakes or certain feelings of mistakes or certain representations of resistance emotionally start coming in, knowing that it is coming in, refitting your energy towards it, shifting your mindset, your beliefs, that clears up a great deal of resistance. Now, when your lower fractal consciousness is carrying 30% resistance and you shift 10% of it out, it makes way for 10% more growth. Your overall lower fractal consciousness is an overall percentage of all of the energy in your entity. When you move out resistance, when you move out parts of your energy that are negative emotionally, you leave room to open that experience of your positive emotions, expansive mental capacity, telepathic ability, emotional alignment to start growing. Letting the parts that you desire grow is very important. That means focusing on what it is you desire. We understand your telepathy is something that is somewhat important to the overall essence of what you are desiring to do. So by opening up your energy, letting go of those restricted and resistive stated emotions, allow yourself to start acting on the ability to open your telepathy, meaning watching videos, listening to different meditations that work upon your third eye and crown chakra, allowing yourself to enter a state of consciousness that is more conducive for the third eye to be open, to start practicing with others the art of telepathy, having them think a thought and then guessing what thought it is, having them write a number from 1 to 100 down, seeing how close vibrationally you are. Now, when practicing this, we suggest one thing. Let us say, for instance, you are writing down the number 69, when in fact the person writes 96. Then you will say, I am completely off. I am almost 30 points or more away from this energy. But in all reality, you are much closer than 30% away from the accuracy. You have the numbers switched around or inverted, which means that vibrationally you understood two separate components of the overall whole, and the way you transmitted and the way you received transmission and the way you interpreted it was very similar to how it was being given. So remind yourself while practicing all of these things to open that telepathy. It can be of a great use to you. It can allow that parts of your lower fractal consciousness to expand. And we thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif.
Yes.
All right. Let's see our next. Actually, we have a comment. Oh, this is so sweet. This is from Kalina. She says, I don't have any personal questions right now. She says, I just want to send them that I am really glad to connect and hear them and all of you. Love you. So she's sending her love to all of us collectively. So thank you, Kalina. We send you our love too. Kalina is so sweet. We love her. So then our next question comes from Ashley, who
Before diving into this next query, we wish to comment on that comment that is given.
Absolutely.
We are grateful for your creation. We are grateful for your comment, and you are loved. Thank you.
All right. So our next question is from Ashley, who says, I was wondering if you could tell me more about the beings named, I think it's pronounced Hobus, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, about the beings named Hobus that came to visit me a while back with the pinkish orange sphere ship. 3 of them came to see me a while back in my room. You told me they wanted to communicate to me, and I haven't heard anything from them since then that I can remember. I was wondering what message they have for me and how I can communicate with them. I have tried, but I haven't gotten any new memories about them. Thank you. I love you so much.
Yes, we also love you as you are loved. One moment we will connect with him so that you may receive the communication they desire. One moment. Hello. Hello. It is perfect. All things are perfect for this day. Sharing with you has been so important to us. We have shared our energy and time with you so much. Although you have not seen it, although you have not received it, you have received it. Remembering what you receive, remembering and taking what we have shared is sometimes hard. Knowing that you have had the experience before, but feeling like it's not back or it's not coming back is somewhat difficult, but it does not have to be difficult. The messages that we tried to share is the trusting parts of your heart, the trusting parts that you have given to so many others caused pain in your heart that made it hard for you to trust others. Knowing that you understand how things work in your life and then seeing them change also made it hard for you to trust yourself sometimes. Trust is a very, very difficult thing. It's much more easy to now than it was years before. As you continue going into trusting yourself, we continue trusting that you'll be able to perceive us again. We have spent a lot of time working on trying to make that come into your awareness from dreams and come into your awareness in physicals. But sometimes it is more difficult when you're not in an alignment of true excitement. We have felt you reach out so many times. In those moments, we could not appear physically, but we tried to appear psychically. We're going to continue working with you. One tool we want to give you is a sound chart. The sound chart that helps open our communication. E, at, no, at, e, at, no, at, e, at, no, at. And when you say it faster and louder and in higher songs, higher sound pitches, that helps. Thank you. Yes, we are back without hesitation all today.
Thank you so much. Oh,
Yes.
I love these direct connects that happen. All right, so our next question comes from Edward, and it's for you, Aridif.
Yes.
He says, in an effort to become okay with all probabilities, what about for excitement there to develop a closer bond to an entity who does not have ill intent for you, but because of upbringing in an ancient and different culture, still living in that
One
area?
moment, you are breaking up in certain words. Are you able to start back at the part and being okay with all probabilities?
Oh yeah, that's the very beginning, so I'll just start from the top.
Yes.
So Edward says, in an effort to become okay with all probabilities, what about for if excitement is there for to develop a closer bond to an entity who does not have ill intent for you, but because of upbringing in an ancient and different culture, still living in that area but not the USA also, Somalia for example, that after explaining how I see things, the entity and family insist on you to convert to follow things according to their culture and to possibly move there or to improve the relationship. Entities named, for example, in this is Idil, I think that's how it's pronounced, IDIL. Is it okay to go along because excitement is there despite awareness that you have things that you could have accomplished and everything for to spend this a lifetime on Earth? Could be a soulmate that has no ill intent.
Yes, first of all, when you are considering going into a style of relationship where you are being asked to shift something about yourself, it is very important for you to know the answer to one question. Is it something you desire to shift? If it is something you are desiring to shift, then we express, by all means, shift that part of yourself to whatever it is you desire to shift to. But many humans come into the contact or situation that occurs where they are being told, I desire to be with you, I desire to have a relationship with you, I desire for our times to be able to be spent together, but in order to do this, you must only do this. Now we are saying, when it comes to a situation that is, in that idea, asking you to completely change yourself in all ways, that means there is parts of themselves that are not accepting of you. And we understand a great deal of this is conditioned by the way of life for them, by the way or version of environment in which they grew. That energy of itself is asking you to do something that is in an unnatural state of alignment for yourself. We do not see that as a clear motivation to move forward in your own expansion. Now again, if the idea of shifting into that culture is one that truly excites you, not because you are expecting the outcome of being with the person or having a relationship with the family, but only because the ideals of what that specific environment entails is already resonant with you, then we would say an excitement to explore is an excitement that is there for a reason. Any excitement is there for a reason. To explore the very beginning part of that excitement is what we would suggest. Once entering that specific portion of excitement, the continuation of what you can explore or expand into is most definitely up to yourself. But when you get into a period that feels like you are no longer exploring excitements, but shifting out of the normal version of yourself into something that is more fitting for another, we suggest that you pause to reflect upon this. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif. Really
Yes.
appreciate you. You and Treb are excellent at taking care of Rob's body and being very considerate. So I thank you very deeply for that. It's so sweet.
Yes, it is a great pleasure of ours to co-create with Rob. And for all of you, we thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to see where I left off. Let's see who we had. I believe Edwards was the last question that was answered.
Yes.
Which brings us to Maud, who says, has any alien race had any contact with, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce this, Achaemenid Empire, Persian Empire, or influenced by ETs? It seems to me they use very advanced technology to build Persepolis Palace. I'm sorry, guys, you guys know how Americans are stupid with pronunciation.
Yes, first of all, these entities most definitely worked and co-created with several extraterrestrial races. Now, when you are perceiving those entities that lived in that area of the world in that certain time period, now understand the Ottoman Empire lasted not only one span, but for several hundred years, even close into the 1000, if you are looking at breakoffs and all of these things. These energies of co-creation were with a great deal of many entities. Their technology was not done or created directly by the hand of extraterrestrial technology. They did work with technology based from what they have learned in their co-creation. Now, understanding those that are in power often work through ways of manifestation or techniques learned from great occult teachings with meditative states and entities that are willing to exchange information of technology in order to enhance their own connection to that person or to that group. This is something that many of you have perceived with those that have worked with humanity in this now period, exchanging certain technology, such as in anti-gravitational or energies that many of your governments work upon, connecting with extraterrestrial energy, connecting with those that are malevolent type 2 beings. This is also very similar. When these entities worked from that place of understanding and knowing that they were able to construct such great palaces, not only this specific palace that you speak of, but a great deal of advancements in technology of architecture came from this time period and era. This energy of co-creation was done. We are not sure specifically what race, as they are never a race who physically interacted with humans to a degree of a collective, such as your Indian entities that live in that country of India now, that their ancestors worked physically, directly, and in direct contact with several different extraterrestrial races. This specific energy was done more so on a telepathic communication. Also, if there were physical interactions, they were so subtle and with so few people, it does not stand out within your collective consciousness. So co-creating from very ancient techniques of meditation and also utilizing crystal technology is the way that they worked with these entities. We thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif, and
Yes.
hopefully you guys can hear me better. I know this microphone apparently is not that good, so I probably won't be using this particular. This is a newer headset, and I'm probably not going to use it again, guys. Sorry about that for the various sound issues. I tied my hair up, so hopefully that will open up the mic a little better. Let's see. So our next question is for you, Aridif, from Luciana.
Yes.
I would like you to elaborate once more on the dynamics of timelines. Recently, I've found out that my sister has some memories that are very different than mine, which amuses me and seems to terrify her as she believes my memory is awful. As I understand, so far, we vibrationally choose the Earth reality that we live in, and in other parallels, other people move into different realities. But how much can we really shift from one to another? For instance, where Donald Trump was elected, Robin Kalina seems to be on the same reality as me, and I think of it as if we are in a boat where we bought a ticket for a journey and we can't get out unless we jump off for good. Or in other words, we somehow signed up for this one timeline. How flexible or how big of a jump on the Mandela effect can we really take to a different timeline reality? Thank you, everyone. Much love.
Yes, and greetings to you also. First of all, we must express the mechanism of your own shift from one reality into the next. Yes, these timeline concepts are a useful structure for all of you to have, but in this way, you see a linear line that has many branches and arms off of it, and each one of those branches also branching out. This can be a bit confusing when trying to express this concept. We will tell you the exact mechanism of the twin soul. Now, in this concept, many times when we have expressed the twin soul, many entities think that we are speaking of the twin flame, which is the consciousness that is aligned with yours the most within the oversoul, which thumbprints or energetic prints are almost exact or perfectly representing the comparison of one another, or perhaps you would see it as complementing one another. But we are not speaking about this part at all. What we are saying is that your oversoul is a structure. This structure carries all of your past lives, your future lives, or even versions of different beings within you. For instance, you can experience multiple lives in one time period that are in your oversoul, but those entities are not you. They are not versions of you. They are not part of you. And the you being the fractal consciousness that you are, the entity that you are. For instance, Rob is Rob. He sits here. He is the Rob Gauthier that all of you understand. There are also parts of his oversoul that exist in this now moment. Those parts are individual, separate entities from Rob, although they are one in every way you can imagine, although they are part of the same oversoul. They carry very different experiences and cannot truly exchange that experience unless that is a divine desire of both of theirs. We will not confuse you too much with this. Knowing that that is the part of your oversoul, past lives, future incarnations, and different experiences in the same time. Your twin soul is something different. For each entity, or each lower and fractal consciousness combined that exist within the oversoul, the twin soul carries every probability imaginable, infinite amounts of probabilities for each entity. Now, what we express within this is that each time your mind, your heart, or your emotions lead you to a different behavior, a different action, a different thought, or switch to a different belief, your energy from the oversoul to the twin soul shift. The twin soul hands the oversoul a new fraction of consciousness. Now, this occurs many times within 1 second period of time. But for the most of you, this vibration is so similar, it does not have a great shift to make within the twin soul. For instance, if one of you enjoy eating a certain food or eating a certain diet, you enjoy doing a certain job, you have a very similar routine each day, very little differs, then you are looking at a very small percentage of the twin soul that is being utilized. Yes, it goes from 3:30 to 3:31 p.m. It goes from 3:31 to 3:32, etc. So those are all small shifts. Yes, they are great shifts in a larger picture, but each one of those moments are being changed only slightly. Vibrationally, in a spectrum, you are staying very similar to what you are. That twin soul mechanism does not have to work too far outside of their spectrum. We ask many of you to liken this to a visual concept of a deck of cards. As you all know the famous magician trick, pick one card, pick any card. You are always the card in the center of the deck. If you lay all those cards out, one next to one another, going infinitely in both ways, the part that the oversoul experiences is always the centered card. That is the card that is handed over, and then the new card takes its place. So you are continuously working from that vibration, but as a lower fractal consciousness, your free will allows you to shift into any reality or any vibration that you choose. Let us say one day you are a person who is racist, who does not like others around you, but one day you desire so greatly to not have hate or bad experiences that you have an experience that shifts your vibration out of racism. Now, this is a very large shift, in fact, a great shift of vibration. This means that a fundamental part of your experience has been shifted. So now, instead of looking at 5 cards to the left or 5 cards to the right, you must go thousands of cards out to the left or to the right in order to achieve. The twin soul has the capability to give the oversoul whatever card it wants, because the part of consciousness that is being focused on in that moment, the most centralized card, desires that change, creates the change in its vibration and heart. The twin soul must accommodate the new card to give it. So it is shifting one reality out for another. Now, when you are looking in a personal way or a singular experience, each person has their own deck of cards. Now you are speaking of a person who is with you who feels a different reality. That is something altogether different. There are different versions of the Earth Collective, but they are not truly separate Earths that encompass where, as your example said, this Trump entity does not win. It does not encompass one where Trump or Clinton was never existing. The version of Earth that you experience now is where your focus is. When you desire to shift out of that reality, you are only shifting cards in the twin soul. There are cards that have that version of Earth, where all things are perfectly as they are now, but there are also cards that are no longer thousands of cards out, like switching from being in racism to going out of racism. There are some that are so vastly different, where you are experiencing an Earth that has population of only thousands of people, where human beings no longer appear as human beings, where the evolution has taken them in a different way. Those are trillions of cards away. Those are hundreds of trillions of billions of trillions of cards away. Numbers so grand and so fascinating that they have no name or structure for the human condition. When those shifts occur, you must truly shift all things that you are. This rarely occurs within the Earth Collective. The reason it doesn't often or no longer truly occurs en masse for the human collective is because before incarnating, all of the agreements on what the Earth Collective would be gave it a spectrum. There are versions through the twin soul that allow any version of Earth to appear. The oversoul takes whatever version you give it and puts it in the center of focus, the part that you feel and experience. Now, this does not mean all of the other cards on the deck are not realities. They are. They are versions of the same Rob in that different Earth, where there are only thousands of human beings left. But because the lower fractal consciousness itself that is in the oversoul does not focus upon that reality, it is not being experienced by this version of Rob. That version also plays out its own card-to-card jumping, but it is not truly brought into the oversoul in a way it can be experienced thoroughly. All of the twin souls' experiences are fed upwards into that version of the oversoul so that it understands the possibilities and probabilities ahead. But the main focus stays within that energy. When you are co-creating with several decks of cards, all of you are agreeing, as you've expressed, to be upon the same boat together, varying differently in your own perception. That is why yourself, your sister, your energy partners can experience the same version of reality, but perceive it in such a different way, because the card that they are choosing now is slightly different. The versions of reality that occurred within their way to get themselves to that one specific card that creates with your card in that moment is slightly different. Now, you all understand that your perceptions alone can change the version of card that you are on, even if you are on the exact same of card with the exact same perception. The vibration of the perception can change what you felt you experienced. So this can also be another reason why this entity in yourself experience that same boat ride, but not the same reasons. When you go further out into timelines, every moment that you are living in a version of reality that you accept, that you perceive or you believe should be that way, the less likely your versions are to go thousands of cards out, millions of cards out, especially all the way out into the trillions of billions. But when you open your own perception up to the possibility that all things are possible, that all things can change, and focus your own excitement, thought, actions, it gives it the higher probability to change. Rob himself, a very different being than he was 20 years previously. A different being than he was 5 years previously. even a different being than he was one moment ago. But the version of those cards get further and further away from that deck as he desired to shift that version of himself. So shifting those parts of your reality that you desire to shift is the part of you that gives that twin soul the opportunity to give more and more of the cards within your alignment to yourself. That is why we have always expressed following those energies. That desire, that part that we were expressing, then pulled back upon, that version where there are only a few thousand humans on Earth, humans are different, those cards are utilized sometimes by certain individuals. Some of you have experienced times where you are so differently experiencing one day from the other, where in fact people that you have met, you have not had an opportunity to re-meet them, or entities that said they have met you when you have not connected with them. Sometimes you offer yourself that, so that you may show yourself the amount of shifting and growth that can occur in each of you. Sometimes you require a card so differently, just so that the example may be clear to you. Now we understand that shift of different versions on the earth, humans that are not the same. This is the most extreme version, but some entities who humans perceive as extraordinarily, we are not thinking of the term, but it is beyond the condition that some call bipolar. In fact, it is very much past the concept of schizophrenia. It is actually more entrenched into those that are perceived as delusional. Sometimes these entities are shifting those wide billions and trillions of shifts. This is why they appear to be insane to you, because they are creating in this environment, not knowing why they have shifted millions of cards or billions of cards at once. And because their own energy desires to have such an off-centered and different experience in each moment, it continues to shift millions of cards at once. That is why most of these entities appear to be mentally or psychologically unstable to you. This can account for a great deal of many things, but we believe this amount of information is sufficient enough for you to understand the precise nature of the twin soul. We thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo.
Yes.
Trying to figure out which tab. Okay. All right. So we have the lovely Vashta, and just so you know, we Aridif, it is 4:29. But how do you feel about taking? We only have Vashta and Brennan left.
Yes, we will take the final two questions before disconnecting.
And I know everybody was hoping we'd get for round two, but at least it looks like everybody's had their questions asked for question one. So Vashta says, are there any beings that have a message for me, please?
Yes, we will carry this into the last question. Bring us back to this, as there is one entity that desires to connect but cannot bring forward its energy greatly enough.
Okay, awesome. Then Brennan's question is, Aridif, several weeks ago during the early morning, my third eye way highly opened, and I had a vision of two tall, slender grays that were spiraling energy either out of or into my crown chakra. Who were these beings, and where were they co-creating with me? Sorry. The next day, I had a broad daylight sighting of a possible ET craft. It looked like a kite. Was this the craft? Was it connected to all these tall grays?
Yes, most definitely. Your sighting, your experience, your crown chakra, all of these are connected with those entities that you perceive as tall grays. Now, these entities specifically have been co-creating with you for the last 7.5 months of your time. They were connecting before that, onward and offward, but exclusively, continuously have been working with you for the 7.5 month period of time. The reason they start connecting with you at that period and stay connecting with you is because they understand you are starting to open yourself up enough to receive all of those sightings and energies that you are receiving. These entities want to work with you as you are connected through their own oversoul connection, through your oversoul connection with one another. These entities are probable future incarnations of your own lineage. Your energy in this moment has a great chance of incarnating into their collective consciousness in the future time period. So that is the interest that carries, but your vibration overall, the curiosity, the desire to understand, the knowing of a great deal of many things, this puts you in an alignment with these entities in the now moment. Allowing yourself to continue being open to that co-creating can allow you experiencing these entities more. Telepathically, they have worked with your energy. Your own third eye is opening because of yourself, your crown chakra the same. But because you have opened them to a degree for these entities to connect with, it feels as if they are motivating that energy to happen. But truly, that is on your own accord. Your co-creating with them can expand the version of that experience. So working with them, understanding both visualization of themselves and the ship that they are coming from will help allow that co-creation even more so. The entities in specific region of your space-time come from the area that you would call Capricornus, the constellation. It is not a star that is visible, but it is between the first and third brightest star within the constellation. Looking between those, using the category star HIP will help allow you find the specific star more so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aridif. And now for our final question. Vashta.
Yes, we will bring forward an entity that desires to give a message to the entity you call Vashta. One moment, please.
Awesome. We know this is going to be good.
Dear friend, it is a pleasure to be here and express verbally through this being what energy, love, and emotions that I want to share with you today. First, the energy. You feel it in your heart. You know that you are open to messages. You are open to energies of all sorts. Feel my energy now. I push out to your consciousness in this moment. When you listen back, I will also push consciousness in the area of crown, in the area of third eye, and in the area of heart chakras. Located regionally, not only in those chakras come the organs that are simultaneously connected, the ones that you have used and utilized to connect your own self physically with the art that you carry through. Feel this so that you may interpret my own energy in the best way possible. Feel that. The message that I give you that comes from verbal. You have felt me in the dreams for many times, the tall humanoid being who is approximately 6 1/2 foot, who wears very blonde hair and very large green blue eyes. I am very wide in the shoulder and very wide in the bone structure. Human beings are very multi-sized in their frames and stature, but even to your larger humans, such as the one whose body I receive signal through now, even wider and more broad. I am a representation of an energy that goes back to your lineage many thousands of years ago. When you look at your people in the Scandinavian areas that were your ancestors, both genetically and historically through your past lives, you'll notice that there are similarities between the physical structures. This is why some humans call us Nordic looking. Some people call us Norwegian, or Nordic beings. It is because we resemble those Viking style of beings before in your history. The reason I share my physicality with you is so that you understand who comes through. The dream states that you carry have been multitudinous in amount and multitudinous in energy. I will bring forward the dream to you in your sleeping state on Tuesday that will finalize your ability to perceive and see me. I hope this gives a great pleasure to you to know that although you have peeked into my energy before, and although you have seen my energy before, this will give you a finalization of my overall energy. The giving a message is more important. When you look at your soul, you see many beings that have come in and out of it. You've seen many beings that have been a part of your life and not a part of your life. In higher dimensions, in your same dimension, you have seen so many things flow. The flow that creates the greatest excitement is the one that comes from your heart. And this flow will take you to know the relationship and fluid nature of relationship with those beings. Some of beings who were important in your life and came out of your life before have reasons to accommodate the energies in the same way the beings come in and out of your life. Your mind is growing so quickly. Your heart grows so quickly. When your mind and heart grow at such a fast rate, your vibration and alignment changes. Know that I am a being who will be in your presence, have been for, we are sorry for hitting the equipment here, have been in your experience for the last 3 years of your time and will continue for the next 2 years. But just as all of those beings, both human and non, have come in and out of your life, so will I. The next 2 years of your experience will be the greatest teachers of your life so far. The last 3 years has shaped you to get into the area that you are in now. The next 2 years also very important. Once you shift out of that energy after 2 years, my energy will shift outside of yours. Knowing that I will most likely be gone in those 2 years, this gives us a sense of preciousness of our time together. I hope that you take this into consideration as you feel my energy, knowing I don't leave you to leave you. I only leave you because you will outgrow the greatness of our connection now. You will go beyond the greatness of our connection and connect to many other beings. That should be a celebration and a joy. My energy comes in and out of your reality just as your mind shifts through thoughts and people. And we are continuously hitting your technology, my friends, so we apologize. This is the last thing that we will say. Because we have come in and out of your life doesn't mean that we don't love you when we leave. It only means that we love you so much, we give you room for better things. Talnag Areen is the name that is most fitting. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. That was the question I was going to ask too. What was the name?
Well, back without hesitation or delay.
Thank you, Aridif. And is it accurate that this was the male energy that was speaking to us?
Yes, most definitely of the masculine variety.
That's what I felt too.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Vashta, I wrote a little bit of keyword notes on the side because I know you're an artist, so I wrote down as I was listening so that you'll have that while you all wait for the rendering of the video for later on. All right.
Yes. We must express to our own connection that we will disconnect, but before disconnecting, we must express our own greatest gratitude for the co-creation of all of you. And we give you special thanks also, Kalina.
Thank you so much, Aridif and Treb. We love you guys. Excuse me. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being here and sharing your energy, your love, and wisdom with us. As always, we love you.
Yes, we love you also, and you are loved. Treb Bor Yit NE sends his own goodbyes and hellos and also wishes to express that he loves all of you. We bid you adieu for this evening. You are loved.
You are loved too, artist. Good night. Welcome back, sweetheart.
Hey.
I was going to tease you and say you have to use the restroom again, but...
I do, actually.
But then I figured Treb probably, because, you know, you're always going and seeing another aspect of him, so I figured I can't fool you.
Well, I've got to use the restroom anyway, so you were kind of right. I'll be right.
Okay. Oh my gosh, guys, we are so appreciative of all your questions. These questions are amazing. Oh my gosh. But yeah, this is incredible. I'm just so excited. And Vashta, for the Viking energy, and this is funny, it kind of ties into Deborah somewhat to a degree. I want to tell you guys, I mean, I found the dream kind of comical, and it's only an excerpt from the dream that I remembered the other day. But I was dreaming, again, I don't even really remember the context, but there was this very Viking-looking person that all of a sudden it was like, whatever we were doing, we were all actors. So there's that actor theme, like Deborah's. And then I was looking at this guy, and he had that Viking hair, and I was like, oh, you're one of the actors in the Viking movie, aren't you? And it's funny because I was totally touching his hair, and a very, like, in real day-to-day life, you wouldn't do something like that with someone because it's kind of invading space. It was like a totally normal in this. So it's like I felt this really closeness to that kind of energy for the last 2 or 3 days. So I don't know, maybe this was the being just kind of popping in and saying, hey, because I've also been thinking a lot about you too, Vashta, who I also want to, and I hope it's okay to say this, but congratulate Vashta and Josh for their marriage. We send you guys so much love. I was kind of like out of the loop, not much on Facebook and all, so I apologize for us being late, but I'm so excited about that. So wish you guys a lot of love. Wanted to say that before we jump off in a little bit. But yeah, amazing. I know like I said, we always say this is the best one, but I mean, you know, we're always in that moment of now, and it just feels like we're always peeling back more and more layers, getting deeper and deeper into the universe and connecting with all of our guides. It's incredible. Welcome back, sweetie.
Thank you. It's,
looking all gorgeous.
Oh yeah, my hair too is extremely wonderful now.
Yes, it is.
I know. I got my little pokey doos up.
Both of us, our hair's been growing back stronger, and thicker since we've been taking the food grade diatomaceous earth. Really good stuff. But
one of the best.
That stuff is amazing. But our hair's been like really been thick and shiny, and I was thinking maybe that's when my microphone was having some issues, but probably not. But it does look nice and floofy again, very long.
It does. It looks.
The floofy. Any other announcements, sweetheart, other than the channel panel being released midday Tuesday?
No.
Guys.
My Metatron video I put out today, which I said earlier. I just want to let everybody know who might be watching this later. Again, what I said at the beginning, thank you guys for being a part of our work, for your support, for your love. I put up a link to a new platform I'm trying to show my channeling on, and I asked people just on my friend list, hey, if you guys can review this, that would be great. If there's anything that you've experienced with us that was good. And we got like 12 or 14 people that really shared some really deep, emotional, great things that their life has had an opportunity to shift into from their exchanges with Treb Aridif, with me and Kalina, with these type of events and stuff. So for me, to feel that super amount of love being given from all of you guys, I see your Facebook comments, emails all the time. I'm just so grateful that you've been a part of our work and supported me and Kalina in our personal lives. Those of you who are on our Facebook page, when we share sometimes the struggles or happy things that we go through, a lot of you are there to share that with us, and I'm grateful beyond words for that, and I thank all of you guys for being a part of that.
Absolutely. And speaking, oh, you're still talking. I'm sorry, sweetie. Or it looks like you
No,
are.
I was done. No, I was just
I'm
scratching
looking
my
at
chin.
the wrong. I'm looking at the wrong YouTube page. I'm looking at the delayed one. I'm like, oh, he's still talking. I was a 30-second delay on mine. Sorry about that.
I'm in real time.
You're in real time. Now time. All right. So I wanted to also say, because like we do sometimes share deeply personal things and things that are going, because we're all going through stuff together, guys. Every single one of us, we're going through things. But Rob has a dear friend he's known since he was a teenager, really young teenager, who is okay. I'm not going to say the name, but it's okay if I say.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know how personal I could get, but he attempted to commit suicide. He overdosed on drugs, and by the grace of the universe, he was found literally just moments before he was about to pass away. He's still in the hospital. He is, I think he's breathing on his own and everything now. He's lucid, he's awake. We're going to be seeing him in a bit too. But of course, eventually, people are not going to be looking after here with the depth that they are at the moment. So if you could, I don't know if he would have allowed the first name or whatever, but maybe we could, bounce the energy back to him. But if you guys could send some, I know a lot of you guys do Reiki and other healing, or you intuit it. If you feel so inclined to channel that, that universal, that love, that God, that divine energy to him in whatever way, it doesn't matter, what spirituality or what religion or what your belief systems you connect to. It's all to us. It's all love. He needs that right now because he's been rejected a lot in his life. He has a personality that some people can find abrasive, but he's a very genuine, very true character, and we know that he needs to learn self-love. That's very, very important. I know a lot of us here that are listening have gone through a time in our lives, myself included, where we felt suicidal, or even some of us had attempted it. So our request to you is that you just, when you can, occasionally send him lots of love, and we'll keep you guys updated. But he definitely needs that, and any kind of guidance or angelic presences that can be around him right now as he goes through this. Because this, from what I understand, was his fourth attempt. Something's always saving him. He's here for a reason, for sure.
Yeah.
We told him that, Rob teased him and said, you just suck at trying to kill yourself, We're trying to lighten up a little bit to kind of jolt him into the reality. Hey, you are here. We're all here for something, but, if you're not able to, there's reason for that. So, yeah, sorry, I know that's elongated, and I always end very long goodbyes, guys. But
no, baby, you're fine. That's a very important point, and it does need a lot of love. So any love.
He does need a lot of love, and he needs people, not just us, but, we all need. I believe people are tribal by nature. We need our own ability to be individual and express yourself, but we're also very tribal. We're mammals. We need to be together. We need that love. We need that connection and that understanding. And I think he just hasn't quite found that. He has that with us to a degree, even though he has certain belief systems that might differ from us, and that's okay. But he definitely needs to feel self-love and then find that group, because I feel like we are so lucky. You guys, I can literally say I've waited my entire life for you guys. But it wasn't until 2012 that I really, even though most of it's via the internet, I feel like I found my tribe, my family. And I can't wait. Once he feels that feeling of self-love, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but I feel like all of us, when you go on that spiritual seeking, the spiritual journey, that is an ultimate act of self-love, and you draw in your family, your tribe. And so I wish the same for him, whatever it is, whatever people, whatever journey. Of course, we're always going to be there for him, but we just ask you send him love too, and who knows, maybe he'll be on here asking questions with us one day. We don't know. He's always invited. Great guy, very funny. My God, it's like one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Ironic. I went in there, and his first words to me were like, "Yeah, I was just having a bad day." I'm like, that's not exactly a bad day, but loving guy, loves Rob, and
yeah, me and him have been very close. In my heights of addiction and everything, I used to spend a lot of time just partying with this guy. So we went through some really deep lows together, and it was very intense. I hate to do this, guys, but I am going to jump off here. I got to start getting ready to go so we can visit my buddy in the hospital. And it's been almost 3 hours we've been on, which we expected to be a lot. We always expect to be less, but we always
do that.
We always go over. I love you guys with all my heart so much, and thank you for your love and support. And I'll leave it to you, sweetie, to finish what you're saying and wrap up. But I love you guys.
I love you guys too, and thank you. I see you guys already sending love and energy his way, and but yeah, we love you guys so much. It's always hard to tear away from you guys, because it's only like once a month, but we always have a great time with you guys. We love you so much, and I think Rob said one quick question to Rob before I hang up with you guys. Are we doing next month, or?
I don't know yet. If they keep their eyes peeled.
Okay, good. Because I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but yeah, keep your eyes peeled for what the situation is for December, because we're going to be out of town, possibly not in the best internet connected area. But yes, keep your eyes peeled on the ET Whisperer website, Rob YouTube, Rob's Facebook, things of that nature, so you can know if and when the December monthly webinar channeling will be, which I think we need to change the title for this month, because it says December 2016, it's November, so maybe I'll change that in a little bit. But yeah, the December one, we will figure something out for you guys, and we'll let you guys know. All right, with that said, I love you guys so much. Rob loves you guys so much. Treb and Aridif, love you. I know my guides, even though you guys haven't heard as much from them as of yet, they love you. They're always around me and around you. So, and of course, your guides love you too. So until we meet again, as Aridif says, we bid you adieu. And we love you guys. You are loved. Good night.